afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday weekend. Um, I know I am relaxing. We got tomorrow off. My name is Jacqueline Kabah Harrison. I am a confidence and success coach for African American women that have coaching and or consulting businesses. I am live here today with a special guest for A Queens Roundtable Show, episode 18. Wow. I'm really super excited to have this special guest here. And just so you know, just to give you a little backdrop, we do this show every second and fourth Sunday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I stream live and I interview a phenomenal entrepreneur, and we basically talk openly and candidly about the ups and the downs of entrepreneurship, and they share with you different techniques that they've utilized in order to address any negative self-talk or self-sabotaging behaviors, because we all have them from time to time, right? So without further ado, I'm going to let my guest introduce herself. Take it away.
All right. First of all, Jacqueline, thank you for having me on your show. I'm very excited to be able to share today. As she said, my name is LaKeisha Hankins. I am a passion strategist, author, and certified life repositioning coach, also known as a passion strategist. And what I do is I work with women who are service-based female entrepreneurs and equip them with the tools to create a life in the business that they desire, a business that awakens their soul. And a lot of that requires, healing your past and overcoming their limiting beliefs and reprogramming the subconscious mind. So I've been, coaching women, and this is, definitely my passion and my purpose is just really just empowering women and, also working with teen girls.
Oh, okay. Yes. Wow. Now, do you have a therapy background?
No. Okay. Of course, we'll definitely talk about, I guess, probably get more into that, but no, do not have a therapy background. Okay. Like most, I went to school, graduated college or whatever with my degree in accounting. I didn't know what I wanted to be. We'll probably get more into this as we talk about the story.
Yeah, okay.
I was a teen mother, and I knew I loved math, and math was great. I was the first in my family to go to college, so really wasn't for sure which direction I wanted to go. It was like, oh, do I want to become a teacher because I loved my third grade teacher, or and I took an accounting class in high school and kind of like went that path. But of course, during college. So psychology was my favorite major, of course, but I was already, knee deep kind of like in my my studies. And then also being a teen mother, I didn't want to switch paths. So it just ended up coming around full swing, full circle. Now that, hey, I'm still able to live out my purpose regardless of which direction that I took,
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So ladies, we're going to dive right on in, because I'm pretty sure you have a lot of questions and you want to know more about Miss LaKeisha. Same here. So currently, right now, tell us like a little bit about, like, are you married? Do you have any children, or are you from a large family? What state are you in?
Okay, well, so I was born and raised in Las Vegas, so a lot of people find that very interesting.
Yes.
I'm born and raised there. I moved to Atlanta about 8 years ago. I am married. My husband is also from Las Vegas. So at the time when I moved here 8 years ago, I had relocated with my job, and we have 4 beautiful girls. Our girls range from 23, 22, 15, and 14. So we have like this 8-year, gap and stuff. So which is amazing. And at this, that we have the older girls and the younger girls, it always becomes an issue when we're trying to find something that all of them can do together. That's not kiddish for the little one, for the bigger ones, and for the little ones. But like I was saying, I was a teen mom, so I had my first child when I was 16, and I always wanted to live in Atlanta, but that was too far away from home, from Vegas. So I ended up going to college in California, but ended up being able to relocate here 8 years ago, which is one of my, which was one of my goals.
Okay. All right. I'm wondering like how your husband feels. A house full of women.
He always says like Obama. With all these girls and stuff. So I think he's gotten used to it over the years. And And it's kind of, crazy at first. Like my sisters, they have girls now, but at first they had all the boys, and I had,
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of nephews and
Okay.
stuff, that I had all the girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, okay, let's move into the aspect of tell us more about your business and who you serve and basically the why behind your business.
So as far as like my business, it's definitely, the passion of working with female driven entrepreneurs. And, a lot of it stemmed from working with moms, because a lot of times we put our dreams and our goals on the back burner, because, our children, everyone else kind of like takes priority, and we're wearing different hats. But, it's great to be able to empower other, women and, moms, and let them know they still can make it happen regardless of where they are in the game, age, education, experience wise. None of that matters. All that matters is that you believe in yourself, and, you put I think when you say yes, you step out there, the resources come to you and stuff. So it's never too late to go after your goals and your dreams. So I'm all about helping, women, get the clarity that they need to take action and get results.
Okay. Wow. Now, is your business primarily online, or do you do a lot of in-person?
So it's kind of like a mixture of both. It's been primarily online. It's kind of like how I started building it. But then over the last 2 years, I've been wanting to more so do offline events. So I've been branching out and doing more, within the community, hosting local events here, and as well as doing speaking engagements. I love that, we can be online and reach women global, but I'm like, nothing takes place of that, that whole face-to-face interaction. And, sometimes it's needed within our community.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. I really enjoy online as well. Just the fact that, like you said, you can reach people all over the world. But like you said, nothing takes the place of that face-to-face, contact. It's and that, that and people's energy. Period.
Yes, absolutely. And stuff. And then, especially for those that are building businesses, it helps, we always talk about that know, like, and trust factor. It helps, make that whole process a lot quicker.
That's right.
Live events.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I want to move into just to be able to share, because again, part of the show is to give inspiration and hope to other entrepreneurs, other women entrepreneurs out there that are like, oh my God, I just feel like quitting. Things aren't working out for me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they had one particular venture and it kind of was a flop, and they're like, okay, what am I doing? And then stepped out there and it's just not working out, and they just need some encouragement and some support. That's why I think it's so important to actually talk about some of the ups and some of the downs. And so let me ask this before we go further. Now, exactly how long have you been in business? And within that time, have you like rebranded it all, or?
Yeah, so I got my coaching certification back in 2012. And my certification at that time was actually in life coaching. And that's, at that time, it wasn't that many coaches online. So, it was great. But at the same time, I ended up switching gears. A lot of people, I think, try to find their niche. And sometimes I always tell them, like, your niche will find you. So as I was building my coaching business, I would get more and more women reaching out, asking, how did you start a business? Or that were coaches looking into starting business. And I also, dibbled in the whole network marketing industry. So that's when I started doing like network marketing and learning how to build funnels and all these different things and how to market your business, because that's one of the, the key elements when you have a business. You have to know how to market your business. You can't just, put a website up there and expect people to come. So that was one of the skill sets that I ended up, learning over this course, and kind of like how I started, more so transitioning my business to working more so with female entrepreneurs to build their businesses. Okay. And, from that service base, whether it's, consulting, whatever creative entrepreneurs, women who offer a service, and being able to help them with that. And then, for the one who's thinking about quitting, sometimes success doesn't happen overnight, right? But in a lot of times, if something that you're passionate about, even if you do the whole stopping and starting, it's always that feeling that's lingering back there. Like, I wonder what would have been if I didn't quit or if I didn't give up. And you owe it to yourself not to do that. And for me, my personal inspiration was my children, my girls. So I'm always telling them to go after their goals and go after their dreams. And what better way to do that than be a role model? I'm their first role model. I want it to be me versus, media and everything else you see outside the house. So regardless how many times I was throwing it up against the wall and it felt like it was spaghetti, not working and stuff, they saw me persist and not give up and be able to make the vision a reality. Especially my oldest, like I've been dragging her with me to events since she was like 12. So, she has that entrepreneur bug, as well. So they, get to see that. And then, also their father is an entrepreneur. So I always say, surround yourself around other people who are doing what it is that you want to do. And don't be afraid about failing, because in that we learn, we learn from our experiences. And that's how you should look at it. Like when you're investing in something, purchasing a program, a service, or a book, even if you just get 1 or 2 nuggets out of it, leverage it, use it to take your business to the next level, or as confirmation that you're on the right, the roadmap. Sometimes you might have to switch your vehicle to how you get there, but the vision and purpose does not change. It may evolve or so, but if it's there in you to make something happen, really just stay connected to other entrepreneurs, stay prayed up, all those different things, believing in yourself, and, seeking out the right mentors and, coaches and other people who are successfully doing it. And, you will get the results.
Yes. You know what? It was a couple of things. And I always say this every time I'm live, if those of you that know me, I say this. I wanted to say that, first of all, you touched on a lot of things I kind of want to piggyback on. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here, I didn't want to interrupt. But one of the things you said, well, I say that one last. The very last thing you said about watching who you're connected with, that's so, so important when it comes to staying positive, right? Mm-hmm. And staying motivated and being productive in your business. You have to surround yourself with you have to surround yourself with other individuals that are doing something positive, other entrepreneurs. And like you mentioned, other people, other women that are doing it, you know what I mean? That have so to speak, rode those trails already. Mm-hmm. So if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. It's not a sign of weakness. Just, you went to school, you got your PhD or your master's degree in, counseling or social work like myself. It doesn't mean that you are an expert in the area of marketing or in the area of funnels and websites and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So you have to know it's okay to reach out. You have to know it's okay to reach out. But what you said in the very beginning, you said a lot of people, when they're coaches, they like go out on a mission, if you will, to find a niche, right? And I like how you said your philosophy is you don't find it, it'll find you.
Yes.
I mean, that's like so profound to me.
It is. It will find you because you start working with certain people and you realize, okay, this is not what I want to do. This is draining the energy out of me. When I finish getting off my coaching call, or so I want clients that light me up, that do the work. They're not asking questions about the pricing or any of that. They find you and you're excited about working with them. There's been a couple of times, like I said, when you try to make stuff work, it just does not work. When you realize you got a coaching call at 3:00 and you're dreading getting on the call with that person, something is not right, So it's like, yes, your niche, I believe it definitely finds you. When I first started, I was excited. I found my purpose and I was like, oh, I'm going to help everybody else find their purpose, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what I was called to do just because, that's what I was excited to do. Yes, I can have to map out, what it is that they want to do, but I want to work with people who already kind of like know what it is versus me having to tell, okay, this is helping them find their passion, kind of thing. Okay, you already know what your passion is. Let's make it work. It's like, yes, I can do that. That's one of the gifts of helping people, get that clarity around what it is that they want to do. But that's not where my heart's work is at.
Okay. And you know what? And like you said, that's important to know. And sometimes, and ladies, don't feel bad. Sometimes you may not know that right off the bat. Like she said, you might start off thinking this is the route that I want to go. This is what I want to do. And you might kind of switch it up. and that's okay. You know, that's okay. It's like I think it's good to always get comfortable outside of your comfort zone, always try new things, but also be intuitive enough and, listen to yourself, and be self-reflective enough to know that, this feels good to me. This is working.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing more of this. And if this right here doesn't feel good to me, or like you said, I don't feel motivated to get on the call, or somebody inboxed me about something, you're like, oh, well, I'll get back to them.
Right, then that's not for you.
Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to be committed and all in, committed to their success just as you are committed to yours. And then like you asked, like with the whole rebranding, I want to say I probably changed like, 3 or 4 times because like you said, as you're growing and building your business, you evolve, your vision changes. The people that I worked with 8 years ago are not my ideal clients that they are, today. My ideal clients have kind of like grown with me. And stuff. So, it has changed as they've, grown in their business, so have I. And I always say, I feel like you're qualified to teach the person you were, 3 years ago, where you were in your life and your business. But, with the rebranding, what I always tell people, okay, there's a difference between evolving and a difference between, okay, are you changing because you don't have the confidence in what you're doing, or you have lack of clarity because you're grabbing hold of to somebody else's vision because you see them doing it or so. It's like, there's definitely that recipe out there for success, but you have to put your own special sauce. So it's like, what is your special sauce? And that's what's going to make you, make all of the difference, and making sure that your, rebranding are changing for the right reason, that you're not spinning in wheels and just lost trying to figure out where it is that you're supposed to be, where if you're supposed to go right or left. So that's, the difference when I see people when they're, switching and changing it up. If you're just shooting for stuff and really just haven't taken that time to really get clear on what it is that you're called to do, then you will be, spinning your wheels and starting and stopping.
Absolutely. So two things I want to kind of piggyback on. One, you mentioned that people who may have been your ideal client some years ago may not be your ideal client today. So I think it's important to realize, or to take note of, that we ourselves are constantly evolving and constantly changing, right? And learning and growing as a person. And that's okay. You may have started out in one particular area, like maybe an individual may start out with actually wanting to help other women find their purpose, right? But maybe you get in it 5, 6, 7 years, and maybe you now want to work with people that already know what they want to do, and they're ready. They're like, this is what I want to do. This is my purpose. I just need, I just need a little guidance or some accountability in terms of walking that path. But I know this is what I want to do. And then, ladies, that's okay. Because none of us, or at least we hope, none of us stays the same. I mean, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing. And the second thing I wanted to mention, and I know this is a whole nother show, but you mentioned about like imitating others. And I think sometimes we might see another coach or consultant that we admire, right? We like, oh, they got it together. They signed in $10,000, $20,000 clients. And so let me switch it up. Let me do what they're doing, because if they're successful, then maybe I need to do what they're doing, right? Now, there's one thing in terms of business strategies. That's one thing, right? Yes, there are certain, principles of business that you would have to follow. But when it comes to like being your authentic self, you really have to pay attention to like who you are as a person and what area you shine in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so don't be afraid to be yourself, because that's what attracts people to you. Yes, your knowledge and your skills and what you can, assist them with, but also just showing up as your authentic self. Because if you don't, you're going to crash and burn.
Yes, that's a whole, copying it. Because, I've been there, done that too, trying to figure out yourself, figure out what you're doing. It's like, yes, you look at other people for inspiration. You might like their business model and stuff, but that's their recipe for success. You all have the same kind of like recipe, what we're doing. It's not like it's something new or hasn't been done before or so, right? But people are going to gravitate to you, like you said, because of who you are, because they're connected with you. It's something about your story that relates to them, your secret sauce. There's here's the success recipe, but what's your secret sauce that you're putting in it? That's your authenticity. That's what you, like you said, stand apart and, really be out there so you can be able to serve your clients and stuff. But, what I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say. I was going somewhere with that. I promise I was, but,
it's okay. Cause I do it all the time.
Yes. But I'm like, yes. So it's like, just making sure you're showing up as your true authentic self in your business. What I was going to say is because when you intimidate other people, what they're doing, yes, you might be able to do it and have some results, but if you want to sustain and have a long-term vision, it has to be your vision. And don't get caught up in you seeing people saying, oh, I got a 10K client, what's the net profit? That's always my question. Like, how much did you have to spend in Facebook ads to get the 10K and stuff? What's the actual net profit? So don't get caught up in those shiny objects and the money and stuff, because what's for you is for you. And for me, when I took the money off the table and just really focused on serving and building relationships, that's when my business changed. Not necessarily I'm gonna help you get your 10K in 30 days or 3 clients and XYZ, but it's really about building relationships and stuff in this business that we're in.
You know what? Could you say that again? that last part, like when you took the money, I
took the money off the table and start focusing on how much, money that I was trying to earn for the month. It's great to have those goals, but when you focus on just the whole serving and building relationships and giving value, your clients begin to show up. The money begins to show up. You begin to hit that, that whatever the 10K month or whatever it is that you've been wanting to manifest, because your mindset is in the right place. You're serving. And that's what you just focus on that aspect of it. And I promise you, like, everything else will come to you. You won't be sitting there worried about how you're going to, pay the bills or if you're going to be profitable 6 months or so, whatever down the line. Focus on serving and just being, your true authentic self.
Right. I so agree. And to kind of piggyback on, and I don't want to forget either. Let me see. I want to say to piggyback on like taking the money off the table, and focus on your purpose and, who you're meant to serve. I think that sometimes that's hard to do when you see so many different ads about this person doing that and this person doing this. So I wanted to say that, y'all, because I didn't want to forget. But let me just shift for a second. I want to acknowledge those individuals that joined. And sometimes it's kind of challenging for me, guys, because on my laptop, I can't see who joined. So I have to look down at my phone. So forgive me if I'm kind of going up and down. But I just want to acknowledge Lola, Taylor, Simone, and Moha. Sorry, that's one of my friends from New York. But at any rate, I want to acknowledge you guys and thank you so much for joining. And if you do and Keisha, thank you so much. If you do have a question or a comment, go ahead and leave it in the comments. It'll show me the comments on my laptop. Okay, so feel free. Okay, so I wanted to say that, and then I wanted to go back to, now what was I saying before? I told you I forget.
The money off the table.
Right. Okay. So I think in this online space, Facebook, Instagram, people see these types of things like you see an entrepreneur, let's say another coach that you admire, and like she's on a beach somewhere, with this beautiful weather with her little pina colada with the umbrella in it and, all of that. Right. And they're like, yeah, I just signed my, I done meet my income goal for the month, my 30 or 40 grand for the month. I've already met my income goal and, follow me. I'll show you how I did it. Right. I think a lot of times, and that's why to me, this show is so important because it kind of gives people an opportunity to really get in there and really talk about entrepreneurship and that things like that. And I'm not saying that person didn't hit their financial goal for that month, but you don't know what their situation was a year ago in their business. or 2 years ago in their business, right? Because those types of things don't just happen overnight. Like you said, you do have to be flexible, and you have to be willing to try things, and you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, and you have to believe in yourself. And yes, in time, those things will come. It's not just an overnight situation. And that individual that hit their income goal that month, you don't know how many times they want to throw in the towel. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times they're not telling you that. They're just telling you the end game.
That's pretty
right.
stuff.
The pretty stuff, exactly. Just like if you see a couple online and they're getting married and they're exchanging their wedding vows, you don't know how many knockdown, drag out fights they done been through. You don't know how many times they done broke up. You know what I mean? So that's why I just think it's so important just to really put this stuff out there and really talk about it. So having said that, can we segue into share at least one challenge with us that you have experienced, whether it be, personal or, in your business, professionally? Share that with us and let us know what techniques you used or basically how you got through it.
Okay, so definitely, I would say one of the challenges was definitely the seeing the value, the undercharging, going back and forth with my prices and all those different things. And it really stemmed to, one of the thing, what I'm going to share, today, the whole healing your success. It really stemmed back to that, really just identifying who I was, but taking the business off the table and really, getting clear on, my purpose, who I was called to serve, and what was holding me back as far as like limiting beliefs, past mistakes, all these different things, because, whatever we're doing, there's always a saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if how it's shown up in your life, it shows up in your business and all these different things, so I was an overachiever in my career, having success in like a lot of other areas. But with the coaching, for a minute, I stumbled because with everything else that I did, like I had other businesses, there was this tangible product. So it was different when me, trying to give you this and then trying to correlate that with the whole coaching aspect and realizing that it's a transformation that you're providing people. That is the product that you're, providing, whether it's, business or life coaching or whatnot. So really just overcoming that goes into the 4 key shifts that I'm gonna share today and stuff. So I'm not for sure if you're ready for me to dive into that, but I definitely can.
You know what? I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
I am ready.
Right.
Go for it.
Awesome. So, one of the things that I say is in order for you to really live this purpose-driven life or build a purpose-driven business is you have to know who you are. Because when you don't know who you are, you go through your whole life struggling and searching. And the key to knowing your purpose is knowing who you are. So for me, that required identifying or healing my misplaced sense of identity. Okay, because I think a lot of times we forget who we are because we're spending so much time trying to discover ourselves, searching for love in the wrong places, struggling in success. Either you're an overachiever, you're always feeling like you're not good enough, or taking more and more, courses or classes and, struggling and being who everybody else says that you should be. Okay. And you feel that you're not enough and you don't see your value. And that's kind of like where I was. And what happens is you get your sense of identity from our core relationships. And that comes from, stems with, from the mother, your father. And what I, coach a lot on is the fatherless womb. And people, when I first started doing this, like I said, I'm a fatherless daughter advocate. People are like, oh, I'm not a fatherless daughter because my father was there, in the home. But sometimes they're there, but they're not there. So I describe a fatherless daughter as a female who grew up with an unattached or unavailable or emotionally unavailable father figure in the home. And we get our sense of identity, from them, so if your father wasn't speaking, providing, protecting, and, these 4 key elements in your life, it shows up in your business. It shows up in relationships where you don't trust people. You don't trust yourself. You are steady overachieving. Like I said, if you're one of those persons that are buying program after program and not implementing, there is an issue. Right? Because you're trying to find this value. You're trying to prove to everyone else that you are great, and everyone else on the outside sees you as great, but you don't see your own value. Everyone else can tell you how great you are, that you're an awesome coach, you're an awesome writer. They see all this talent, but you don't see it. Okay, so it goes back into really identifying who you are, because like I said, many of us, we lost sight of that because we're caught up trying to be who everyone else thinks we're supposed to be, who we think everyone else thinks we're supposed to be, right? And what happens is we need to identify with something greater than ourselves, and that's knowing our higher power, having that relationship with God, our source, and move from a place of seeking validation and being who God has truly called you to be. So that's the first shift that had to take place, was healing that misplaced sense of identity. It's not that I'm a mother, I'm a wife, all those different things, or an accountant, a certified coach. Who does God say that I am? And that's that first key that I had to,
the first step.
Yes. And then the second shift is making peace with your past.
Okay.
So in order to move forward with your purpose, right, you had to be willing to make peace with your past. And whether it's fatherlessness, teen pregnancy, your mother not being there, bad credits, school dropout, abortions, bad relationships, whatever, we all have this past that haunt us, or skeletons in the closet, so to say. And when we're willing to make peace with it, we can move towards our future. Okay. And I always tell people that, things happen, but in that there are lessons in our blessings. So things that have happened to you in the past, you have to be able to see the blessings in them, right? Because that's what makes us who we are today. Our experiences and what it is that we've been through, our challenges and how we've overcome things. We use that to help other women. We all have a story. So it's like when you really are ready to forgive your past and connect with that story, that means you have to forgive, and you have to be willing to be willing to forgive. For me, I was
I have a question too, but
okay,
I want you to lose your thought.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this one, and then I'm gonna what's the name? So, like, I was raised by my mom and my stepfather. My stepfather was there from the time I was 5, so he is who I know as dad, where my biological father was in and out of my life. And I always wonder why I was not good enough. Why he didn't come around. Things of that sort. Even though my parents and stuff said, don't worry about him, there's always that there. So I had to forgive him for an apology that I may never, ever receive. Okay. And then I also had to forgive myself for how I was showing up in my life, because what it taught me was to be strong and not to depend on people and, all these different things. And that showed up in my business as well, because you try to do everything on your own, trust people, certifications. I can't tell you how many certifications there's a difference between learning and evolving, but there's a difference between where you're that overachiever and feeling like you're not good enough. So like I said, forgiveness is that gateway to success. And it's asking yourself, who do you need to forgive? And so one of the exercises I did was I wrote letters. Didn't necessarily mail them out or anything like that, but wrote a letter to, my father, forgiving him, and wrote a letter to my younger self, for forgiving myself.
I love that. You know what? You sound like a therapist over there. I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
That should have been my calling. That should have been what I was for. But, I've been able to find it through ministry, becoming like a minister, and through coaching, versus having to go back to school and spend more money on degrees.
Okay. Let me acknowledge those that have joined us. Yuko, thank you. Paige, Marilyn King, Gertrude. Hey girl, how you doing? Elizabeth, how are you, my dear? Hope you are doing well. Paula, how you doing, Paula? Y'all, I'm trying to keep up, y'all. So just bear with me. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to make sure I acknowledge everybody and remember what I want to say. You are on fire over there, LaKeisha. Okay, so I think it was so important to mention about the daughterless or fatherless daughter, that sometimes, even though a father is physically present, right, he may not be emotionally present, right? And so I think that's very important to mention that part. And I think a lot of us go through the whole process of not feeling like we're good enough. You know what I mean? And that sometimes that's hard to admit. And sometimes we may know it and we're just too embarrassed to admit it. Or sometimes if you're not really insightful enough, maybe you don't meditate or journal or whatever you do to really self-reflect. Because some people just don't do it. Okay. Some people just do not self-reflect. They don't know none of their stuff. Oh, Lanita, I'm sorry. I didn't give a shout out to you too. I'm sorry, Lanita. How you doing? Thank you for joining. A lot of people are just not self-reflective. So actually realizing, right, that you have this maybe imposter syndrome, right? This not feeling good enough, because some people are just like constantly in school, like you said, or they constantly, oh, let me get this certificate, let me get that certificate, let me do this training. You know what I mean? And that's fine, that's great. But you have to really realize and be be insightful enough to know really where that's coming from. You know what I mean? And it could be a situation of you trying to validate yourself. You know what I mean? Or some people are so focused on getting a validation from others, and you have to validate yourself first. Then when you talked about the forgiveness piece, I think a lot of people think about forgiving others, and yes, that's a huge part of it, right? But also sometimes we don't even forgive ourselves.
Yes.
For different things that we've done. Like I know you mentioned abortion. That's just the first thing that popped into my head. But the thing of it is, if you don't forgive yourself, sometimes you can sabotage yourself, right? Because you don't feel that you are worthy.
Yes.
Because you don't feel that you are worthy. So these are all, and I'm so glad. So obviously these are things that you work on with your clients, because a lot of people, they want to have a successful business, and you can, but you got to work on you first, because like you said, whatever is going on inside your head or personally,
area of your life.
Show up.
And how you do love and how you do money. So it shows up in your business and all those different things.
Yep.
And like you said, it's, I always tell people, yes, they come to you for business, but I'm like, there's a conversation that we got to have. And it's probably the one that you've been avoiding.
Yeah,
and
we got to have it.
You got to do self-reflection. For me, that didn't start until like maybe some years ago, because like I said, I had my first child at 16. So at that time it was like, okay, head down, focus. I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself, feel sorry for, her father not being there. So I never gave myself time to grieve or deal with that situation or realize how it made me feel, because I was focused on, let me get my degree and make sure I take care of my child and provide for her and stuff. So in that whole, like you said, just being an overachiever. And when you don't, like you said, take time to self-reflect, what happens is that thing that you've been praying for, you end up pushing it away, when it comes your way, because you're not ready for it. You're not emotionally or mentally ready to, receive it, or you don't believe that it's for you, or you look at it and think that, okay, why is this happening to me? Like you don't deserve it. Or so you got to know that you deserve success and, believe in yourself. And all that starts from healing and loving yourself, and just really just understanding who you are, and that whole forgiving.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the business programs, or at least from what I've seen, a lot of the business programs, like you said, they focus, and that's their purpose. They focus on the funnel system, email marketing, all of those intricate pieces of business, right? But like you said, if you don't feel that you're worthy of it, right? Maybe you might be busting your butt, and the way you price, your prices. You'll be working like a dog. You'll be working harder in your own business to generate the amount of money you need to even pay your rent, pay your car note, right? You know what I mean? Because of the fact that you don't value your services. You are not appropriately pricing your services. So it's going to seep in there, ladies. So please, take note. I hope you have a pen and a pad. I'll just jot a few notes. I'm going to leave it up so y'all could, come back and, do the replay. Please put your questions and your comments, and LaKeisha will tell us at the end how you can find her. Okay. So I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, this is really important, very important.
And then when you were saying that, the first thing that came to me, when we were talking about the, the people putting up their 10K and all that kind of stuff, how you achieve that, I always tell people, one of the things that, really changed my perspective, my coach was like, the same energy that it takes you to create $100 is the same energy that it takes you to create $10,000.
Okay.
So it's not a money thing. It's, it's a mindset thing, and knowing who your ideal clients are, because a lot of times people want these 10K months and trying to charge 3,000, but are your ideal clients able to pay 3,000? So you have to meet your clients at where they are. So that's why it's important that you stay in your own lane. You might not be called to serve, some people can hit their 10K with just 10 clients. Maybe you were called to serve more people at a lower price point and stuff. So that's why it's important to know what's for you and make sure you're not comparing yourself, but at the same time, you're doing something that feels good for you. That's going to challenge you, as well. When you put your pricing on your products and your services, that it challenges you, but it's also, it connects to your ideal clients.
Mm-hmm. Very good advice. Now, did you finish? I mean, because I think I might have interrupted you.
No, that was good.
Okay.
Give you time us to connect with the audience and stuff too. So I have 2 more. So the last number 3 is you have to change your beliefs and shatter the shame. So for me, my lack of self-worth in believing that I was not enough and my bad relationships are what prevented me from making money in my money or success in my business. So looking at those things, because like I say, how you do love is how you do money. Is one of the things that I had to learn and stuff. So if your programs, your services are all together, but you're still struggling, it's an inside job. You have to work more on yourself than you do on your business. So you have to be willing to look at what limiting beliefs are holding you back and, really, change them. Get to a point in your life where you can actually change them. So when I was able to, release those old limiting that self-image that I have of myself, or who I, saw myself, and begin to see ourselves as who we really are, we automatically become that person. So who do you want to be, 3 to 5 years from now is what I always ask my clients. And, just visualize that person and be that person now. Because when you're in alignment with who you are, you no longer search for approval or validation outside of yourself. And when this happens, when you get to that place, you're able to create anything that you want in life. So that would be my question for you, is what beliefs or shame do you need to let go that no longer serve you, so that you can step into the fullness of who you are, so that you can be the woman that God has destined you to be? Who do you need to become? What do you need to let go? Yes. And then the 4th one is you have to rewrite your story. So we all have this opportunity to rewrite our story. Where you are now, your past, it does not define you. It's, what do you want? Is it a new career? Start a business? A healthy relationship, whatever it is that you want, you have the power to make it happen. So I wanted you to know that, regardless of whatever has happened in your past, who you were in the past, that you have the power to discover your truth, shatter that shame and move forward. You have the opportunity to rewrite a new story, because you are you're the author of your future. You decide what happens tomorrow, regardless of what has happened in the past. So that is kind of like my 4 steps that I walk people through in one of our sessions. Identify who you are, let go of those beliefs, forgiving yourself and rewriting your new story.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, it's a lot involved in those steps, but of course, they got to be willing to do the work. And you're living proof. You have a testimony of your own, that you walk through these steps.
Yes.
So yeah, wow, I love that.
I love that. I got bumping my head up against the wall within my business, and just everything else. And it's like, okay, how can I have success in this area but not in here? And for me, it was my coach, my mentor, who said, "Are you ready to tell your story?" And I'm looking at her like she's crazy, kind of. And it's like, okay, but how does that have to deal with my business? Like I came to you for business coaching, but it was like, no, there's some work that needs to be done.
Yeah. Do you journal?
Yes. I don't do it consistently like I should, but that is definitely one of the self-care tips that I definitely recommend. Journaling definitely helps get that stuff out of your head, out of your heart onto paper. And I've been able to go back and use like some of that stuff for business or, for writing books and stuff like that. So it's definitely necessary. It's definitely therapy when I tell people, being able to do that, and it helps you also to get clarity. So I don't do it daily like I used to, but I do, make sure I take time. Like I have a journal next to my bed so that I can, write stuff down.
Okay, so you ready to go? Okay, so let's segue into that.
Mm-hmm.
I know this comes up in every episode, and it should, about practicing good self-care, right? Because a lot of us either don't even think we know what self-care is, but we really don't, or either we know but we still don't do it. So you have minor children, you have a business, you have a husband. How do you practice self-care regularly? How do you ensure that you do that?
It's definitely, like I said, the prayer and meditation definitely helps. That's part of self-care, and that's something that you should definitely do daily. And then also personal development. But, we talked about journaling. Journaling is a way that you can practice self-care. For me, it's scheduling massages. I think as women, sometimes we carry a lot of our stress in our shoulders and all those different things. So having that on a regular basis. And what I like to tell, people is put it on the calendar. Groupon is like my best friend. So, if my massage therapist isn't available, I'm on Groupon, I'm looking for one, so I can make that part of my regular routine to taking care of myself. So I think that's important. I love yoga. So doing things of that sort, yoga, or if my daughter, my oldest, is home, being able to go hiking with her, or just going, to the park. And that helps too with my business.
Okay.
As far as like getting out in nature, that is self-care, in itself. And you get so many ideas. I think so much stuff comes to us when we're able to connect with nature, what God has created. So those are, kind of like my methods of self-care, and trying to eat right. And, I'm not going to be one of those ones, but like, oh, well, I eat right all the time. I don't, it's, for me, that's a struggle. That's one of the habits that I'm working on. Like we're all, always working on something. So that's one of my three goals for these next 6 months is that's considered one of them, having healthier habits. As far as like when it comes to your eating and all those different things, that's, really plays a role in how you feel. In order for me to get up and keep up with my children, I know I got to do, I got to eat right, kind of thing, because they keep me going with all their extracurricular activities and stuff like that.
They do.
Gotta take care of yourself. Reading is, also a part of self-care as well. So, and then bubble bath. Like, when was the last time you took a bubble bath? A lot of times, we use our showers and stuff daily, but actually just taking a nice bubble bath. So self-care does not have to be expensive. It's something that you can do at home. And I've even done as far as getting a room in my area, a hotel in my area, just leaving the house and stuff, because
that's the best.
You just need a break and to relax. And it's hard to relax in your house when you're still thinking about all the stuff of the to-do list you got to do, like your laundry and all that kind of stuff. So self-care doesn't have to be expensive. If you can't afford to go to the Bahamas or something like that, you can afford to go to the Marriott down the street or to the Hilton and be able to get away by yourself, even if it's just a weekend. That's an act of self-care. And it's not only great for you, but it's also great for your family, because you come back, refreshed and stuff too. So, it's a gift so put it on the calendar. Don't act like you don't have time for it. It's a gift for everybody in your household and all of those around you that have to deal with you. So just
absolutely
as that aspect.
I always say, like when it comes to self-care, like you said, a lot of times people think you have to, spend a lot of money. And yes, you can spend a lot of money on it, like going to the Bahamas and Jamaica. But all the time, you're not able to do that. Even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes a day. Like I love to dance, right?
Nice.
And I'm telling you, I'll just bust into a dance. Like if I'm at home, or maybe at the gym or whatever, I'll just go into like a little mini dance. Like that it puts a smile on my face and it makes me feel good, So whether it's journaling, whether it's, I don't know, maybe you knit, you do crossword puzzles. Sometimes it might just be even having a cup of tea in the morning, like before everybody gets up, just whatever it is, just ladies, just keep in mind that it doesn't have to be really elaborate, right? It doesn't have to be that elaborate. Like she said, even if it's a bath, like I can't tell you the last time I took a bath. I mean, really sat down in the tub with the aromatherapy and all.
Book or, candles lit and all that.
Yeah, it's been.
Yes. Put it on the calendar.
Right. And that's what I do. it's already worked into my schedule. So it's not like, oh, let me figure out when I have time to do it, because that's when it doesn't get done. You have to plan it just like you plan going to the grocery store.
Yes.
Plan your self-care. So please take that with you, ladies, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna be there for yourself, much less anybody else. So also, I want to ask you, tell us something, just something. This is a little bit on a fun note. Tell us something interesting about you.
I always hate those type of questions because I feel like, oh, what's interesting about me? For most people, they find it interesting that I was born and raised in Las Vegas. You know, especially in college, they'd be like, "Well, where did you stay at? Did you stay in a hotel?" I'm like, "No, people actually live there.
People live there. There's houses and everything, right?
Right, there's houses and stuff. No, we don't stay at. I didn't stay at the Caesars. Didn't have a room going up there with my family. So a lot of people find that interesting. And for me now, I go back home and visit now a couple of times a year. But when I was there, I didn't take advantage of the stuff that you would do normally as a local. So when I go back home, I'm a tourist. So when I go back home, I try to hit all the shows and I stay on the strip and all that kind of stuff. Because in the past, I avoided it. I avoided working on near the strip or any of that. Anything that happened to tourists, I stayed away from it. So now when I go back home, I'm at least a tourist for the first 3 days.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I bet you it's a lot of traffic and real congested.
Yeah, I stay in Atlanta, so I will never complain about traffic ever again.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I know about that traffic in Atlanta. I stayed there when I went to a graduate school there at Clark, Atlanta. Yes, traffic everywhere. It don't matter what time of the day and where you're going.
Nope.
So let's close on this note. I always ask my guests, what advice, if you can narrow it down, what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself or a younger person that's just starting out and kind of trying to figure things out?
So I really would say take time to get clear on who you are, building a relationship with God, and that will help you in directing your path and discovering your next step. Because I believe all those resources and everything that you're seeking will be added onto you. So that would be my first step, is having that relationship.
Okay.
With God and also with yourself. Those are the two most important relationships that you can have.
Okay. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So tell us, do you have any upcoming events, or how can they find you?
You can definitely stay connected with me over at LaKeishaHankins.com. I do have, if you're in the Atlanta area or happen to be nearby, I do have a business, or I'll call it Brunch and Breakthrough, because it's not always business. So the website is brunchandbreakthrough.com. And we do a live event here where either it's about business or it can be about forgiveness, just different topics is how I do that. And then I run a mastermind group online. That's how I connect with the audience.
Okay. So now the mastermind, if they wanted to get involved in that, I guess if they go to your website, they can.
Yeah, if you go to LaKeishaHankins.com, under the Work With Me, you'll see the Unleash CEO Mastermind. And then also, for those of you who are interested in more information about the whole Fatherless Daughter process, I do have a Fatherless Daughter online home study program, and it's only $47, right? But in this program, what it does is it walks you through the process of identifying how your daddy issues or wounds are showing up in your life, and talking about releasing those breakthroughs, or barriers, or anything that's keeping you stuck. And kind of like what we talked about a little bit here, redefining who you are, reclaiming your value, your self-worth, and rewriting a new narrative for your life. So that's an online home study program, and available for workshops and events as well for that.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. You gave valuable tips. I hope people wrote it down. If not, like I said, you can go back and do the replay. You know how to contact her. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, that joined us this afternoon, this Sunday afternoon on, holiday weekend. Hope everyone is enjoying their holiday. I know we're all going to enjoy our extra day off, because I will.
Yeah. Those that, served, that allowed us to have this extra day off in memory of them.
Right. Absolutely. So We're going to close out for today. Again, you have joined us for a Queens Roundtable show, which happens every second and fourth Sunday of the month. I bring on a different entrepreneur, and we basically talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship. And we ended off on a note with providing you different tools and techniques to be able to utilize to improve yourself and also improve yourself as a business owner, right? Because you have to work on yourself. If you don't work on yourself, if you are not